This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good. So here we are in Chelek Dalid, part 4, serving Hashem, and Perek Dalid, chapter 4. I'm sorry, Perek Shishi, Perek Shishi, the sixth Perek, the order of the day, and we're in the middle of paragraph 2, where he speaks about that we discussed last week, that what happens in the physical world is a reflection of what's happening in the spiritual realm. There is a time when the forces of Ra, of Tumah, of impurity, are stronger, and that manifests itself during the nighttime here. It's a time of darkness, a time of confusion, and there's a time of greater clarity. So about 5 lines down, we're in the middle of letter Bet, paragraph 2. It was already established as part of the general structure of the world. Adam Yashen. So in addition to the nighttime being a time where there's a greater existence, force of this kochot of Tumah, that when a person is asleep, chelkei nishmat tohel yonim, we say there are 5 different levels to the soul. The loftier levels of the soul cannot be contained in a body that is somewhat incapacitated when it is asleep. So when a person is asleep, chelkei nishmatoha elyonim, the parts of the neshama that are the higher, loftier parts, mistalkim mimenu, they take leave of him, as we mentioned in Chelek Sheni. V'toim ta'am mita v'miktzat. So a person is tasting to a certain degree death. Death is when the neshama completely leaves, and here the neshama is partially leaving, which is what Chazal, what the sages said. Shena echad mishishim b'mita. Death is considered to be 1/60th. It is a facet of, it is a tinge, 1/60th of death. V'nimtza, Dalit, how are you? We're on page 310 if you have the same sefer as I. V'nimtza she'az mitgaber yoter begufo achoshech. And therefore, if the neshama has partially left, so then there is this greater strengthening in the body of the choshech, of the darkness, the neshama, right? Beheader or haneshama, right? In the absence now of, right, when this or, the illumination of the neshama of the soul, hamazakech oto, that purifies the guf, if that neshama is partially out, there is therefore the absence, the lacking of this purifying light that is brought about by these higher levels of the neshama. Whatever they normally bring is now absence. Al kein nimsa sham beit knisa yoter. Therefore, there is this greater beit knisa entry, el hatuma, for impurity, lishrot alav, to dwell on a person. Tum'ah, impurity, is that which fills the void when kedusha, when holiness takes leave. Right? For example, right, a woman going through her menstrual cycle. So there is tum'ah when she has her period. Why is that? Because the body was preparing for life, for fertilization, which is bringing about life. The body was preparing for that. The period is when that did not happen, and the body is shedding that which it had prepared for life. So where there was the potential of life, there was a certain kedusha. With the absence of that potential for life, then what sets in is that tumah, is that ritual impurity. Wherever there was kedusha, and that kedusha leaves, there is a void, and that void is filled with tumah. And therefore, v'hu inyan, and this is the concept of ruach hara'ah, of this ruach ra'ah, this evil spirit, whatever you want to call it, Shepershu, that the sages explained, Sheshora al hayadayim, that when one wakes up, that remains on one's hands, and therefore we have the ritual washing that we do in the morning, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that ritual natilat yadayim, which serves to cleanse the hands and therefore the body of that tuma, of that ruach ra'ah. Achshurota al
Rabbi,
hayadayim.
yeah,
Yes, Uzi?
I think also the Kohen Gadol had to wash his hands before sacrifices, before he starts serving. So we do the same as we start the day serving Hashem.
Yes, Uzi, correct. There are three different reasons given for the Netilat Yadayim in the morning. One of them is not just the Kohen Gadol, any Kohen, upon entering the Mishkan or the Mikdash, would wash his hands. So we wash our hands in the morning as a way of preparing ourselves, because our world, our interactions, all that we have, that is our mikdash, that is the place, that is our temple, meaning that is the place where we are going to be performing our avodat Hashem, our service to God during this day, with my home, with my relationships, with my workplace, with all who I deal with. That's so we wash our hands. That is, I believe, the Rashba's reason. And Rabbeinu Asher, another reason that's given is that just like if we touch a covered part of the body, we need to wash our hands. So when we're asleep, our assumption is we scratched, we touched, who knows, and therefore we need to wash our hands. But thirdly, the reason why we do it in this particular manner, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is what the sages have said, that is the manner with which this ruach ra is removed from our hands and therefore from our body. Right? Why that manner? Well, I have no clue what this ruach ra is, so I'm not going to have much to say about the manner to remove it. The sages who had an understanding of this ruach ra understood that that's the way to remove it. So those are three reasons given why we wash our hands in the morning. But the reason for that prescribed manner, that is attributed to the removal of the ruach ra. Ach shirota ala yadayim, this ruach ra rests on the hands, below al makam acher, right, and not elsewhere on the body. Who that is kizah shiur v'zeh gvul. That is the amount, that is the limit, the parameters, the borders. Shehigbi la hachokam elyona. God always has the limits of how much ra can affect in order to make sure that we don't get swept away, we don't get deluged by it. So that's the shiur, that's the amount. The zalgvul, and that's the boundary. Shehigbi la, that was bound for it by the chachma halyona, by the wisdom of above. Mashet Yisroel Adam, right? The degree to which it can rest on a person. Shehu hanaot la lefi matzavo b'olam, which is the proper amount according to the matzav in this world, according to the state this world needs to be in, and the range wherein this world can fluctuate. And then, of course, our actions are crucial towards sending things in the right direction. But it's limited. Lo pachot, lo yoter. It won't have less than that. It does not have more than that. So that is the status, the state of the world at night. That is the state of a person at night. And therefore, Gimel, paragraph 3, V'hinei hechina chachma helyona, the wisdom of above, the highest wisdom, established la'adam, for humankind, mashi yishtadav b'boker, the things that one should do in the morning, in order v'yitromei mimash nishpal matzav halayla, in order to ascend from this lowering, from this lowered matzav laila status, state of the Laila, of the night. Litaher, to purify oneself. Mima shenitma, from that impurity that came about. V'chein, yashuv yoromei ha'olam kulo. Right? We don't just try to remedy and lift ourselves up. Whatever we do affects the entire world. And therefore, what we are doing is Yashuv Yoromei Olam Kulo. It helps to elevate the entire world. Mimasha Nishbal, from that lowered state that it was in. V'ya'ir oto, and to illuminate it, minachoshech shahachshach, from the darkness that had permeated it.
That's my last name.
So these different steps, procedures that were given to us, kulo nichlal, they are completely encompassed. The takanot hanitkanot lizman hakima, for those established practices, mitzvot, that we're supposed to do that are connected to Zman Hakima, the time of waking up in the morning. Mina Po'olot, that includes the different actions that we're supposed to do that we'll soon be discussing. Umina Diburim, and the words, the things we're supposed to say. So the things that we're meant to say and the actions that we're meant to perform, they are all guided towards re-elevating the person, the self, and the world from that nighttime state where there was this histgabrut, this strengthening of Ra, and shifting into elevating ourselves in the world to that uplifted daytime sphere. Ukamoshin Nevaer, as we will now explain, V'siyata Dishmaya. With Siyata Dishmaya means with help from the heavens. You see people very often on the top of a page that they're writing on, they'll either put the letters Bet Hey, which stands for Baruch Hashem, blessed of Hashem, blessed
Or
is
Be'ezrat
God,
Hashem.
meaning,
Or Be'ezrat Hashem. Or Be'ezrat Hashem.
Or Bet Samich Dalit, people often write, which is this, V'siyata Dishmaya, that whatever I'm doing should have the help from heaven, should have heaven's consent, stamp of approval, and therefore the help. Right? I've seen Bet Hey and Bet, maybe some people are Bet Ayin Hey, Bezrat Hashem, that whatever we're writing here should go with the help of God. Yeah.
Are you familiar with B&H photo?
I typically write on my BSD, B'siyata Dishmaya, with the help.
Are you familiar with B&H photo?
Yes.
So they call the company Bet Hey, the Be'ezrat Hashem, or yeah. But I learned that actually it means Bli Hanaha, without a discount.
Well, their prices are so good, they don't need to give the discount. Maybe that's the pshat, Uzi. Yeah. Actually, someone just sent me a letter that was sent into them that a person was trying to make a very, very costly purchase on Friday night online, and the whole system is closed down, right? You can't put in any orders on Shabbos. They don't want any business going on Shabbos. And at first, the person was sort of put off by that, and a non-Jewish person. The person investigated and was very impressed that they are willing to stick to their values, right? Even if it means losing customers. Who, in our world, you go on, you want to order it, you want to know that it was ordered, you want it delivered by tomorrow, and they're passing up all of that from sundown Friday night until stars out Saturday night.
I can tell you more, Rabbi. I can tell you more, just a tidbit. First of all, they have 2,500 employees. So, and the store itself on 39th Street and 9th Avenue is actually losing money. But they make a lot of money online. So naturally, all the employees needs internet. But it's disallowed to see pictures of women and otherwise. So they have a special system that whenever a face appears on the screen, the program itself puts a whole black square on the face, so you cannot see the face of the person.
Okay.
That's how strict they are.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's continue. So Gimel 3 set up for us how the morning practices, actions, and words are there in order to stem the tide, reverse the tide, and bring kedusha to the self, to oneself, and to the world. Hine, behold, Hapol Harishon, the very, very first act that we do, Hu Taharat Hayadayim. The very first thing we do is the Taharat Hayadayim, is the washing of the hands. Kihine, Haim Shenitmu. They are the ones that, as we learned above, who had this impurity on them. Vishara alayim, the ruach hara, this ruach ra, this noxious spirit, the English says, right, has rested upon them, and therefore that is the very first point that we need to focus on. We need to chase that ruach ra, remove that ruach ra from our hands, ula taharam, and to purify them. Vihine, chakak habori baruch shemo, God ordained, right?
That's
You know,
great.
there
Mother
is
isn't using it or
there
trying to
is
plug
a
into it.
metzius, there is a reality to this spiritual, meaning things that we don't necessarily see, understand, but there is a mitzius, there is an existence to them. And there is a way that this needs to be removed. We don't see it, we don't feel it, but the spiritual mitziut, the mitziut ruchani, is that it's there and it needs to be removed. And there is a process that is given to us as to how to remove it. And that is what was taught to us, that through this proper washing, that's what I mentioned, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the netilah ruya, through that proper washing, as was taught to us by Chachameinu, our sages, Zichron Livracha, blessed memory. So the result is kol gufo shel adam nitar bazeh. Once where the ruach ra is resting on the hands, once we have removed the ruach ra from the hands, kol gufo shel adam, the entire body of the person, nitar bazeh, becomes purified through this. Kamosha kulo, the same way that one's entire body, haya nitma, had become lowered, degraded, defiled to a degree, me hashra'ata shel ruach hara aleim, from the resting of the ruach ra on their hands. Now there are some people who have the custom, men who will go to the mikvah every morning as a further way of purifying oneself, but that is not required. That is a beautiful extra step for those who want to partake of that, but that is not what is needed to remove the Ruach Ra. The Ruach Ra is on the hands, and the washing in the manner that the sages revealed to us is the manner through which one removes that Ruach Ra. And once again, that which one does not just bring about a tikkun, a fixing, a purification for oneself, but is a tikkun l'chol habriya kula. It is a tikkun, it is a rectification for the entire world. Litaher, that it can become purified, metumat halayla, from the impurity of night, v'latzeit mecheshchata, and to go out from its darkness. Vihine. So that's one step. We in Gimel, in paragraph 3, we spoke about different things that we say and different things that we do. Well, the very first thing is what we do, and we take care of that. right? We're not going to start making brachot when we're still in an impure state. We need to wash our hands first. V'hinei chibru lazeh gam kein nakot ha'adam et gufo v'hipanoto. And connected to this is also in the morning cleansing our body from the waste that has pooled in our body, whether it's to urinate or to defecate in the morning, to cleanse our body in the morning. And the result is that the body has been completely purified, cleansed. Umizdamein. And now that we have washed our hands to remove that spiritual ruach ra and used the bathroom to cleanse our body of the physical waste that accumulated over the night, now we are ready. We are mitaher, we are purified, umizdamein, and readied, lihitkarev lifnei boro, to go before our Creator, Yitbarach Shemo, blessed is His name. So those are the steps that we take in the morning, right? And we're not allowed to pray, to daven, or make brachot, or to learn Torah when we are in dire need of the restroom. We need to cleanse our body of the inner waste also, and then we are ready to engage in activities of tahara, of purity. V'ulam, good, paragraph 5. Achar ze yavo shnei ma'asim. After this comes two actions. Asher kvar heim ba'atzmam miklal hatayag mitzvot. They are part of the taryag, the 613 mitzvot that we have. Umitchabrim, and they also connect, they dovetail, im tikunei hatfila, right? And they also dovetail with those preparations and rectifications that we do in order to go into our morning tefillah, lahashlamat ha'avodah hayomit, which brings about the hashlamat, to complete the avodah yomit, the day-to-day service that a person is meant to do. Vehemat tzitzit v'hatfilin. And these refer, and this is, he's referring here to the two mitzvot of tzitzit and tefillin. Tzitzit are the four that when one is wearing a four-cornered garment, one attaches the tzitzit, the strings, to those four corners. And the tefillin are the black boxes that are worn by the brain, by the mind, and by the heart, and on the arm, which represent, and in it are the parshiot, the paragraphs of the Torah, the two paragraphs of Shema, and two other paragraphs which also are mentioning the tefillin. The Shema, of course, is like the Jewish Pledge of Allegiance, and that's placed by our head, which means intellectually accepting it. It's placed by the heart, which represents emotions. Emotionally, I'm accepting it. And it's on our arm. The arm is the action, is the doing. And actually, it goes on to our weaker arm. If one is a righty, it's worn on the left arm. If one is a lefty, it's worn on the right arm. And that, I've heard explained, represents the idea that we recognize that our actions need God's help in order to succeed. And therefore, we recognize our actions are weak, but that's all that we can do. And we do, and we recognize that when we succeed, it is bisiyata dishmaya. It is Be'ezrat Hashem. It is with God's help. It is with the help from the heavens. Now,
Rabbi,
women, right, half of our class here, women are exempted from these mitzvot. These are in the category of positive time-bound mitzvot. and any of the positive time-bound mitzvot, women are exempted from those mitzvot, which means that women don't need those mitzvot in order for them to reach their shleimus, their perfection, their highest level of serving Hashem. They don't need those mitzvot the same way that a Kohen has certain mitzvot, and I and Uzi, I believe, as a non-Kohanim. So we don't need those mitzvot for us to reach the pinnacle of our service to Hashem. So too, women don't need these positive time-bound mitzvot in order for them to reach the pinnacle of their service to Hashem. I've heard it explained that a male's body is not. Oh, Robin, there you are. We see you. Now we don't hear you.
She's a mute.
I'm on my phone. It's the only way it would work.
Okay. So a male body has nothing which is time bound, right? Our male body does not work time bound. Yeah, we sleep, we wake up, right? But it's not particularly time bound. A woman's body is time bound. The woman, when she goes through her menstrual cycle, that is a mitzvah zman grama. That is a mitzvah that is time bound. The male body has no weekly or monthly cycle that it undergoes. A woman's body, so a woman is a mitzvah aseh shazman grama. A woman is, her very essence is a positive time-bound existence and mitzvah. And therefore she does not need to bring on these other time-bound mitzvot in order to align her with Hashem, with the Creator. She is already inherently aligned. The men who need these realignments, so we have these two mitzvot in the morning, tzitzit and tefillin. First, we will discuss their individual inyan aspects. And then, after we've explained them individually in and of themselves, then we will explain how they fit in the role that they play, madregotam, b'tikunei avodah hayomit, how they fit in to this avodah yomit, the daily order, the daily service that we are discussing, of course, in Perek Shishi, in this, the sixth Perek of Chelek Dalet. So let's begin with the tzitzit. Inyan tzitzit hu, the idea of tzitzit. Kinei ratzah Adon Baruch Hu sheyu Yisroel metukanim b'chol b'chinoteim b'inyanei kedusha. God wanted that the Jewish people in every aspect should be connected with kedusha, with holiness. V'alkein natan lehem mitzvot. Therefore, He gave us mitzvot which encompass kol zmaneim, all times, ukafi kol mikreim, and all instances, all situations, kadei sheyituknu b'chulam, so that in all situations we have this connection to God, all times, and all circumstances. B'nei michlal ma shel adam. Now, one of the aspects of humankind, hu malbushim, are the garments shehu lovesh, that we wear. Right, humankind, no matter where we are, right? You know, the different tribes they found in the Amazon rainforest. Humankind wears garments, right? How much, right? But humankind wears garments. That is something that is unique to humanity, but it is pervasive amongst humanity and throughout all societies wherever you go. Ulaman gamheim yutuknu v'kedusha, in order that they too should be established with this kedusha, with His holiness. Sivashi yusam b'amatzitzit. The commandment was to place upon them tzitzit, these strings, these fringes. V'az nimtzaim nitkanim bakodesh. And that way they are established with kedusha. Let's hear how he explains it, then I could share some other thoughts also. The inyans, we're in the middle now of paragraph 6. Amok mizen nichlal o b'mitzvah. But a deeper aspect that's included in this mitzvah, v'hu heyot adam nisman leilokav, that a person should have the siman, the sign of his God, ke'eved ladonav, right? You know, I wear my Laker jersey, I wear my Knicks jersey, right? I wear my uniform, I wear my patch, I have my little pin of that American Israeli flag, right? We want to have things on our garments that identify who and what we are about. And therefore we want to have that we are servants of God. And this is an aspect of accepting God's kingdom upon us. And aligning ourselves, humbling ourselves, subjugating ourselves as part of this kingdom. Now, humankind has given the task of not just purifying ourselves, but the entire creation, as we explained in Chelik Rish in the first part. So we're doing God's work. And we're involved in his tasks. That he established this universe as creation, which is created in the manner as he saw fit. And this results, right, bringing godliness into the world is through Masei Ha'adam, through the actions of humankind. Upulotav, and the acts that we do, Sheyif'al, when they're done, Kefi HaTorah, according to the Torah, V'mitzvah Shalav, according to the Torah and the mitzvah that is upon us. Amnam, Kol Avodah Azot Omeid Al Yisod Echad. All of this stands on one principle, one foundation. That a person recognizes, I'm here in God's world and I am serving God. I am the servant of the Creator. And God has given me this mission, this task, this responsibility, and this privilege, shel tikun habriah, of bringing this world to a better place. V'ufkad biyado, and that is what has been entrusted into our hands. Sha'alkein hadavar zeh matzliach biyado, because this is the mission God gives us. That's what gives us the ability to succeed in this. U'ma'asav magiyim lo lid toladot ela, and our actions are able to bring about this result. V'ulam klal mitziyut hayot masa zeh al ha'adam nikra ulo yiparach shalav. This responsibility, this general task, mission, responsibility that is given unto us, this is called Ol Malchut Shamayim, the yoke, the responsibility of the kingdom of heaven. Ulo, the yoke, his yoke, blessed is his name. Ka'ol ha'adon al avdo, like that of a master over a servant. V'davar zen mitchazek al yidei pratim yiduim. And this gets strengthened through these different pratim, different aspects, shetla'o bahem adam baruchu, that God determined would strengthen this. Umichlalam harishum b'hatziyun b'tziyun zeh shel hatzitzit. And this is the rishum l'tziyun, the insignia, the garment, the uniform that we wear, which is the tzitzit. The amnam. Let's finish Vav and we'll discuss it a little bit further. Milvad hayot hadavar zeh mitzvah tmidit. Besides that this is a mitzvah that is tamid, daily. The sages connected it to tefillah. For who? That is liot mitatef, that a person wraps oneself in a talit litpalel bo, when one is praying the morning service. V'atikunu kabbalat ha'ol shezacharnu. This is an aspect of accepting the responsibilities, the yoke, the mission upon ourselves. Liot b'koach zeh tofes v'oches b'mlachto yitbarach, and which has the ability to connect us, to take hold of Hashem's tasks, Hashem's mission. Tahainu, which is tikkun ha'olam, which is to bring about an improvement in the world, ukamosh zacharnu, as we had mentioned. So,
Well,
what
there's
does Tzitzit actually represent? So, a very beautiful explanation that I heard. The tzitzit are the loose strings of a garment. This world is described as the garment of God. Meaning, what does a garment do? A garment, on one hand, obscures, it covers, but it also shows what is there under the garment. Meaning, the shirt, if it's thrown on the floor, it's just crumpled in a pile, there's no one in there. But when a person is wearing the shirt, we get a sense of what that person is. So the garment both obscures at the same time that it reveals, that it tells us about that which it is obscuring. So the world is considered, is compared to the garment of God. On one hand, it obscures God. God hides in this world. And a person could say, oh, it's Mother Nature at its best. But I don't see any God. The cosmonauts went to the heavens, went to space and didn't see God. And the Russian, the Soviet doctors did surgeries and didn't find the soul. At the same time, this world is an incredible manifestation of the beauty and the power of this incredible God. So the world is considered to be the garment of God. But there are loose strings, so to speak. The loose strings is that God created this world and allowed us, tasked us, missioned us to partner with him in this world. And we should make this world better. We should improve this world. We should bring Kedusha, holiness, into this world, bring godliness into the world, right? God created the wheat. We make the delicious challah. God created the grapes. We make the delicious wine, right? That we're meant to take those loose strings of the garment of God, and we're supposed to accept that task to partner with God in this world. And that's why it says in the Shema that we see the tzitzit and reminds us of all of the mitzvot, meaning all of the mitzvot are the ways that we partner with God in weaving this incredible garment of the world. So that is the insignia, that is the uniform that we wear. It's a constant mitzvah throughout the day, not at night. That's why it's time bound, and women are exempted from it. But it is a mitzvah throughout the day. However, particularly at the time of davening, at the time of tefillah, is when the talit is worn. So even if a person is not wearing the talit katan, the smaller tzitzit garment under one's shirt, or under, over, however one wants to wear it, right? So if one is not wearing a four-cornered garment, there is no obligation to have tzitzit. The obligation is when you're wearing a four-cornered garment, there should be the tzitzit on it. So many of us make a point of wearing a four-cornered garment so we can fulfill this mitzvah throughout the day. But even if one does not, when one is davening, then one dons that talit, that four-cornered garment, with a tzitzit, in order to bring about this rectification that the tzitzit brings to the world, bring it about in the morning, at the time of the morning davening, because as we said, we're going through the different things that we say and things that we do that are there to restore the Kedusha and to strengthen the Kedusha, holiness on ourselves and on the entire world as the world transitions from that darkened, both physically and spiritual period of night into that illuminated, both physical and spiritual period of the day. Okay, my friends. Good. All right. Good to see you, Robin. Dalit. Uzi,
Thank you,
didn't hear.
Rabbi.
All right. Yishar Koch, Rabbi.
Yeshakach, Uzi. Okay, my friend.
Sorry about all the
All right.
mechanical problems.
No problem.
coming in.
We got you in the end.
The last time my mom called, so I hung up and had to talk to her, so I'm sorry.
That overrides. Keep it aim.
Robin,
That overrides.
Robin, I volunteered to fix you. Take a look at the text I sent you.
Oh, okay. For my computer?
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks so
Okay,
much.
good night, my friend. Shavua
Bye-bye.
tov, Shavua tov.
Hi,
Shavua tov.
Shavua Tov.